Spend more time on making the big decisions. There's basically 3 really big decisions.
In this video, Naval Ravikant will share 15 lessons that he learned at age 50 that honestly I wish I heard sooner. I'm Jordan, made over $5 million, hired 50 people, but this is more important.
Spend more time on making the big decisions. There's basically 3 really big decisions that you make around that age.
Spend more time on making big decisions. But what are they?
There's basically 3 really big decisions. It's where you live, who you're with, and what you're doing, right? Those are the 3 big decisions.
The 3 big decisions in life are where you live, who you are with, and what you do. But why does Naval consider these the most crucial decisions?
We spend so much time in relationships. An average relationship probably lasts a couple of years, but we spend very little time deciding which relationship to get into. We spend so much time in a job, but we spend so little time deciding which job to get into. Choosing what city to live in can almost completely determine the trajectory of your life, but we spend so little time trying to figure out what city to live in. So if you're going to live in a city for 10 years, and if you're going to be in a job for 5 years, and if you're going to be in a relationship for a decade, you should be spending 1 to 2 years deciding on these things. These are like highly dominating.
Think more about the few dominating decisions in your life. But I don't think the takeaway here is to follow that 1 or 2 years rule. Instead, see the consequences of those decisions in your own life so far. I think that is more important. And like Naval once said, if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everyone. But what other traps should you avoid?
Those 3 decisions really matter, and you literally have to free up your time because the world will assault you with its own agendas, and you have to say no to everything and free up your time so you can solve the important problems. And those 3 are probably the 3 biggest ones.
Or how I like to say it, distraction bites avoidance for the lazy.
The main thing I did after making money was I seized control of more of my time.
The world has infinite problems, but you only have finite time. And the great skill is choosing what to ignore and making the distractions like scrolling on social media effortless to ignore. More about that later. First,
Anytime you can trade money for time, you should, because time is the thing you will run out of first.
trade money for time, because money goes up and down, but time only goes down. In fact, my father just got a heart attack last week. Life's currency isn't in dollars, it's in heartbeats. But then does it mean you should not focus on making money?
I'm not going to be the one to tell you to not go make money. I was obsessed with it for a long time. I did it. I continue to do it. And I think that everyone should have financial security.
Okay, but then does it mean you should sacrifice the what you work on in order to make money?
Don't sacrifice today for an imagined tomorrow. And so if you can get into a job that you like, where you are tracked on your outputs rather than your inputs, you'll be able to control your time much better. And once you can control your time, you can allocate your time such that you're not wasting it, and you can live most of your days, not 100%, but most of your days as to what you want to do, and then you're essentially retired.
Or how I like to say it, living for the weekend implies dying all week. Don't wait to live. Build a life that you don't need to escape from. I mean, isn't the ultimate wealth, job or business the one that feels like retirement? Well, before Naval talks about how to get there, first, what has he learned from the other big decision in life?
What qualities do you look for in people when establishing a friendship? I mean, in friendships, you don't want to be too rational and analytical about them because we are talking about friendships, but I think integrity is a really big one. You want to be able to trust someone that you're investing a lot of your time into. And I think happiness is a big one. You don't want to be around unhappy people. They'll make you unhappy sooner or later, or you'll have to pull them up. And then for me, I like intellectually curious people because they stay perpetually interesting.
Relationship with curious people because they stay perpetually interesting. Now, that is interesting and very true. By the way, I write a weekly email with more truths like this. I will add a link below where you can access this free Google Sheet with over 80 plus free tools that I use in my business, personal life to save time, and then you will receive my email too, if you like to read it. Anyways, also a filter for happy people is what Naval said. Or at least not depressing or pessimistic people. It's a big one that I've overlooked in some of my past relationships.
Do you have friendships with anybody who is not very smart? Honestly, it's rare. I do have friends who are not everyone's smart at something. So I don't want to be pejorative and say that, they're not smart. But it's just, if they're not intellectually curious about things that I'm intellectually curious about, and if they're not constantly learning, eventually we'll just run out of stuff to talk about. And I like to talk, which is why I'm on Twitter and Periscope.
How I like to say it, the best relationships are built on shared questions, isn't it? And the conversations you have with yourself and with others shape a big part of your reality. But don't believe me, think about what Naval says here.
Just getting out of your peer group, because you copy things from your peer group. So retreats, vacations, trips, dropping yourself into completely new environments is really good, because if you shift up your peer group very quickly, you'll notice how, some of your desires no longer apply. Another way is just to kind of see how bundled your beliefs and desires are. If they line up very neatly with what everybody else around you, like your close friends, seem to want, then they're probably copied. That's true of that's true of your beliefs, like your political beliefs, your economic beliefs, true of your desires, etc.
Your true desires survive in solitude, and your copied ones need company. That's what I think is true. A rule of thumb that I found to be true also is that copied desires often come with applause, and the harder you chase applause, the emptier it sounds. But also think about the following.
Our desires are copied from other people, or socially copied, and I think that's an important one, and that feeds into Peter Thiel's whole concept of don't compete, because when you're competing with people, a lot of times really you're competing with them over things that you copied from them.
Yeah. Competition, isn't that the art of wanting what others convinced that you should want? I mean, I would argue that my most costly mistakes came from competing with my friends, businesses, and so on. And with costly, I really mean literally more than $1 million. But even more so, all that wasted time chasing things that I did not really want. Anyways, think about the following too.
Books is completely personal experience. It's a single player game, as I've said before. So there's no point in trying to do book reading for other people. In fact, sharing books in that sense is bad. Sharing what books you're reading is bad, because it forces you to pretend like you're reading more than you are, or you're reading smarter than you are.
Reading for others is like spiritual makeup. You are a man. You don't want to wear makeup, right? Jokes aside, what are Naval's thoughts on the third most important decision in your life? The what you work on. Listen close.
The thing I'm not a fan of is wasting time. Wasting time, tedious meetings with tedious people, traveling to places for business where there's you don't actually enjoy it. Anything ceremonial or ritual, meetings, complete waste of time, most meetings. Save your time, save your energy. Just be happy, enjoy yourself.
Oh, I get it. If that sounds too easy, just be happy. I mean, how many times have you heard that? You need money to survive, right?
And this is all an excuse for laziness, which just lets me relax and relax and relax until I need to make that decision.
The decision of what you work on, to me, seems like the most important decision out of those three, or any. Because to me, it is the thing that I spend the most time on. I don't go out much, and I'm not very social. So if the most of your time is spent working, then how do you avoid having it feel as wasted?
You don't want to be in a grinder mode. If you're just grinding, you're going to burn out, and the day you burn out, this thing is over.
Now, if that sounds controversial, you're right. I mean, Alex Ramogi promotes hard work. I'm sure you have seen him. And Cristiano Ronaldo thinks that discipline is the most important thing, and many others. But what is the truth?
Discipline is really overrated. Discipline is just you fighting with yourself to do something you don't want to do. I would say it's more important to find something that you want to do and that can be productive.
But then how do you do those things you really enjoy doing and also making money from it? Well, Naval actually shares 11 truths that I found very insightful. It's one of my better videos. You can watch it here or not. Talk soon.